Hey, y'all. Good to see you this evening. Whew, I just got to sit down here. Glad y'all could make it in this evening. Got 6 Year Homestead. Good to see you. Joe Morgan, True American Loretta. Prepared for. Good to see you guys. Flow Grown Homesteader. Good to see you. Glad you guys could be here. My name is Legacy. B&B Home. Always good to see y'all. Let's see here. Five Virgins Prepper. Good to see you. Big Red. Good to see you as well. Cat Lady, good to see you. I'm glad you guys are out of harm's way. The fire is going on. And for some reason, Google just mysteriously started playing music. Hey, Google. Hey, Google. Turn off the music. That was weird. I apologize for that, guys. I have not been canning for a little bit. Prepared for. We kind of slowed down on it for a minute because we got a new prep room out in the garage that I got to make a few adjustments on the door. I noticed I got a big gap on one side of the door. I need to close that off so we can keep heat in better. But so we're going to be moving everything out to the garage, kind of stick it away and hide it the best we can. Why does that keep coming on? Sorry, guys. But anyway, we're getting ready to move all our canning and all the canning stuff out to the garage. So less to move, the better. Let's see. Who else we got in here? Deanna Walters, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I thought I seen another one here that I missed. Rob, PNP, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Arizona Prepper, good to see you. Big German, good to see you as always. James Davis, good to see you. And I think that catches me up. Alexa plays random audiobooks at my house. Yeah, Google's starting to do it more and more. It'll just start talking. Hey, Mr. Fagan, good to see you. Ashley, good to see you. Hope Faith's doing well. Mr. Morgan finally got into the world of smartphones. It was really cool all day today, but here in the last couple hours here, it's warmed up. It's almost like 55, 60 degrees outside. Pretty strong north or a southern wind. It's supposed to turn around and come out of the north by morning and be like 32 degrees. So guys, I'm going to start off the praise report this week. I kind of kept it to myself, but last week I got a fairly substantial raise at work. And then, no exaggeration at all, 20 minutes later, they called me and hit me with the news about the jab. You got till December 5th to get your first one, blah, blah, blah. Or you can file an exemption. And I did. And it got approved. I got a good raise and I get to keep my job. God was very good. Well, he's good to me always, but this past 3 days has been very good. And I wanted to share that with you guys. A couple of you already knew. What's going on with Loretta? Let's see. Just a second, guys. I'm trying to backtrack here. I think I missed something. I'm not seeing anything. Hey, James Davis. Good to see you. Prayers for Oxford, Michigan. Absolutely. John Doe, good to see you. That's great. My wife is a CNA and going through that now. Yeah, I was pretty worried, and I ended up having to call the office Friday because they hadn't got back with me. And she's like, "Yeah, the owner, she's just waiting to accumulate all of them, and she's approved them all at once. That's why I hadn't heard anything yet. So definitely be praying for your wife, Big German. It's it's not fair." Oh, I mean, we'll pray for you, Loretta. Coral Tigger, good to see you. Jennifer Cruz, good to see you. So we got any other praise reports or prayer requests? Oh, and I didn't know until a little bit ago um, from Kate's Kitchen. A lot of you, I think, watched her. I honestly did not. A handful of times I was over there, but she lost her husband. I don't know a lot of details either um, today or last night, possibly, but Kate Howell, I think is how you say her last name. Keep her and her family in your prayers. Neighbor, her father passed away. Hmm. This is always the worst time of year to lose family. Jeep Girl in here? Hey, Jeep Girl, good to see you. Cat Lady had a busy week with the fires, but her farm is spared, and Jeep Girl has been going through difficulties. Yeah, I'm going to put Cat Lady and Jeep Girl both on here. And thank you, Joe, for reminding me of that. Let's see. Ashley, unspoken request. Absolutely. Hey, Six. Good to see you, man. Prayers for my kids. They lost their Meemaw this week and were excluded from the funeral because they're vaxxed. My daughter is not. Sorry to hear about that, Bangs. That's a whole new level of low. Let's see. Please pray for the C-19 leaves my body and I get my sense of smell and taste back soon. Absolutely. That's one of the hardest parts with that was the loss of smell and taste. Probably not the hardest, but the most annoying. I'll put it that way. Praise. Sister is in rehab for broken ankle and leg, hoping to put weight on it next week. Absolutely. Ankle, leg. You're absolutely 6, and it's doing a wonderful job. It's doing what it's exactly supposed to do. Let me check back up through here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Praise for Papa getting his exemption. I know you didn't expect it being home health. No, I didn't expect to get it. You going to bed? Okay, I love you. Let's see. Mindy Joe, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Evening. Hey, Northern Girl, good to see you. Yeah, if you guys want to periodically just all the mods, whenever you want, just drop the link to her PayPal. I mean, I'm sure she would be very appreciative. You know, I'm not even sure that she knows that people are doing that for her, but anything would help. Praise report. I thank the Father in seeing prayers answered. I can be impatient and look for instant response. In his name. Amen. 5. Prayers for cooler heads with all this Russia stuff. It's sounding like war could be any day, any time. I honestly haven't even been watching, Coral. I honestly have not. Just concentrated on the preparedness thing, and which I mean I know that goes along with it. But I'm focused right now. More focused than I have ever been. And it's paying off. Getting stuff done slowly but surely. That was one of my big projects, was getting that insulated prep room done in the garage. Hey, Chuck Brett, good to see you. Rob, Papa, please continue to pray for my wife's best friend and cousin who is in hospice right now. Absolutely. I told you things would work out as long as you went hard at it and never gave up. This is one time I'm glad I'm not wrong. Absolutely. James Davis, can you see me, Papa? I sent a request. What is the deal with James Davis? Man, I promise you. I have not, I don't know if anybody else can see it, but I promise you I cannot see it. I'm going back up through and looking because I know it's done this to you like the past 4 live streams at least. Last thing I see is you said, "Hey, True America, hope you're doing okay." And then if I scroll down, I get down, it says, "Did you see my request, Papa?" And that I didn't see. But then I just seen where you said, um, wherever it just went. Can you see my Papa? Or can you see me, Papa? I sent a request. That's the last thing I can. That's the last thing I see. Prayer request from my mother-in-law. Her Parkinson's and dementia are getting worse, and her daughter is being nasty to us. Need everyone to chill and think of mom. Absolutely, G. Crew. Yeah, they have to be blocking it, Jennifer, because I know, like I said, this is like four lives in a row. It's like he can say anything else but his prayer request. I don't understand. Hey, Raptor Ranch, good to see you. Hello, everyone from northern Wisconsin. We got snow. It was like barely spitting a little bit of snow here today, and then it went away and got really warm. There, James, need to know where the Lord wants me to go. Gotcha. It must be in the wording, man. That's all I can think of because that came right through. Dad and his brother talked, first time in probably 3 to 5 years. Everyone seemed to bury the hatchet. That's cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mindy. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate you doing that too. So I've started writing down prayer requests when I'm on random lives and covering them in my secret place. It's because of watching you write them down on your channel. Thanks for the inspiration. You're most certainly welcome. Independent Manny, good to see you. Praise. We went to worship service today while we can. Absolutely. It's good to know Google is here for Prep Your Soul. Yeah, they could definitely use it. Absolutely, Mindy. That's what I try to do. My little private, well, not private, but my little piece of the internet. I'll do what I can. It's raining, snowing, sleeting, and windy here in mid Michigan. Roads are not nice and temps are dropping. I always want snow up until Christmas, and then I don't care if I don't see another snowflake till after Thanksgiving the next year. We haven't had a good white Christmas here in, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years. Excuse me. And I would like to put Mrs. Poppaprepper. I'm not going to write it down because, of course, I'm going to remember her. She hasn't tested yet, but we're hoping she's not positive again. She's had a real bad headache for 2 days. Feels like her sinuses are about to explode. She's taking sinus meds, which usually kicks it. It's not kicking it this time. Just she's having a lot of joint pain and stuff like that. So we're hoping it's not the Rona again. If you could all keep her in your prayers, I would appreciate it. Snowstorm from every channel. It's fine with me. German, it dropped for a while, and then I got the hen house done with the separate, all the separate boxes and everything, and it seems to have picked back up a little bit. I'm averaging now at least 8 to 10 eggs out of 14 hens, so that's still not bad. I mean, considering we're almost into the middle of December. Excuse me. Nana P, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. All right, we're about 25 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and get started. The Book of Esther. I saw the progress you made in the last few weeks. You've been kicking butt at getting done. I wish I had as productive of days. Your days are a lot different than mine, man. I mean, you got a lot on your plate, dude. A lot. I believe we're ready for chapter 6. Or are we ready for chapter 5? Third day, Esther put on her royal robes and entered the inner court of the palace. Yeah, okay. We're ready for chapter 6. Hey, farmer's son, good to see you. Change glasses here. I can't do that. I forgot to have my contacts in, so I just have to struggle with these. All right. Well, Mames, she has decided she's just going to stay where she's at for right now. We kind of had it all figured out, and then she kind of got some news about her Medicaid and her disability, that it could possibly be affected for the worst moving in with us. Which there's loopholes and things we could have done to get around a lot of it, but she won't do that. I mean, I admire her for that. She won't even bend the truth a little bit. So she's gonna stay where she's at until she feels that she just can't anymore, and then we're gonna open up the possibility of her moving down here with us. Okay. The Book of Esther, chapter 6. The king honors Mordecai. That night the king had trouble sleeping, so he ordered an attendant to bring the book of the history of his reign so it could be read to him. In those records he discovered an account of how Mordecai had exposed the plot of Bigthana, and Teresh, two of the eunuchs who guard the doors to the king's private quarters. They plotted to assassinate King Xerxes. What reward of recognition did we ever give Mordecai for this? The king asked. His attendants replied, Nothing has been done for him. Who is that in the outer court? The king inquired. As it happened, Haman had just arrived in the outer court of the palace to ask the king to impale Mordecai on the pole he had prepared. So the attendants replied to the king, Haman is out in the court. Bring him in, the king ordered. So Haman came in. The king said, What should I do to honor a man who truly pleases me? Haman thought to himself, Whom would the king wish to honor more than me? So he replied, If the king wishes to honor someone, he should bring out one of the king's own royal robes, as well as a horse that the king himself has ridden, one with a royal emblem on its head. Let the robes and the horse be handed over to one of the king's most noble officials, and let him see that man whom the king wishes to honor is dressed in the king's robes and led through the city square on the king's horse. Have the officials shout as they go by, This is what the king does for someone he wishes to honor. Excellent, the king said to Haman. Quick, take the robes and my horse and do just as you have said for Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the gate of the palace. Leave out nothing you have suggested. So Haman took the robes and put them on Mordecai, placed him on the king's own horse, and led him through the city square, shouting, This is what the king does for someone he wishes to honor. Afterward, Mordecai returned to the palace gate, but Haman hurried home, dejected and completely humiliated. When Haman told his wife, Zeresh, and all his friends what had happened, his wise advisors and his wife said, Since Mordecai, this man who has humiliated you, is of Jewish birth, you will never succeed in your plans against him. It will be fatal to continue opposing him. While they were still talking, the king's eunuchs arrived and quickly took Haman to the banquet Esther had prepared. And that is chapter 6. I'm going to go on to chapter 7. So the king and Haman went to Queen Esther's banquet. On the second occasion, while they were drinking wine, the king again said to Esther, Tell me what you want, Queen Esther. What is your request? I will give it to you, even if it's half the kingdom. Queen Esther replied, If I have found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request, I ask that my life and the lives of people will be spared, for my people and I have been sold to those who would kill, slaughter, and annihilate us. If we had merely been sold as slaves, I would remain quiet, for that would be too trivial a matter to warrant disturbing the king. Who would do such a thing? King Xerxes demanded. Who would be presumptuous as to touch you? Esther replied, This wicked Haman is our adversary and our enemy. Haman grew pale in his fright before the king and queen. Then the king jumped to his feet in a rage and went out into the palace garden. Haman, however, stayed behind to plead for his life with Queen Esther, for he knew that the king intended to kill him. In despair, he fell on the couch where Queen Esther was reclining just as the king was returning from the palace garden. The king exclaimed, Will he even assault the queen right here in the palace before my very eyes? And as soon as the king spoke, his attendants covered Haman's face, signaling his doom. Then Harbona, one of the king's eunuchs, said, Haman has set up a sharpened pole that stands 75 feet tall in his courtyard. He intended to use it to impale Mordecai, the man who saved the king from assassination. Then impale Haman on it, the king ordered. So they impaled Haman on the pole he had set up for Mordecai, and the king's anger subsided. Now, chapter 7. It was bad enough, but his wife was just as terrible. On chapter 8. On the same day, King Xerxes gave the property of Haman of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, to Queen Esther. Then Mordecai was brought before the king, for Esther had told the king how they were related. The king took off his signet ring, which he had taken back from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther appointed Mordecai to be in charge of Haman's property. Then Esther went again before the king, falling down at his feet and begging him with tears to stop the evil plot devised by Haman and Agagite against the Jews. Again, the king held out the gold scepter to Esther, so she rose and stood before him. Esther said, "If it please the king, and if I have found favor with him, and if he thinks it is right, and if I am pleasing to him, let there be a decree that reverse the orders of Haman, son of Hamadatha, an Agagite, who ordered that Jews throughout all the king's provinces should be destroyed. For how can I endure to see my people and my family slaughtered and destroyed?" Then King Xerxes said to Queen Esther and Mordecai the Jew, "I have given Esther the property of Haman, and he has been impaled on a pole because he tried to destroy the Jews. Now go ahead and send a message to the Jews in the king's name, telling them whatever you want and seal it with the king's signet ring. But remember that whatever has already been written in the king's name and sealed with his signet ring can never be revoked." So on June 25th, the king's secretaries were summoned, and a decree was written exactly as Mordecai dictated. It was sent to the Jews and to the highest officers, the governors, and the nobles of all the 127 provinces stretching from India to Ethiopia. The decree was written in the scripts and languages of all people of the empire, including that of the Jews. The decree was written in the name of King Xerxes and sealed with the king's signet ring. Mordecai sent the dispatches by swift messenger who rode fast horses, especially bred for the king's service. The king's decree gave the Jews in every city authority to unite to defend their lives. They were allowed to kill, slaughter, and annihilate anyone of any nationality or province who might attack them or their children and wives, and to take the property of their enemies. The day chosen for this event throughout all the province of King Xerxes was March 7th of the next year. A copy of this decree was to be issued as law in every province and proclaimed to all people, so that the Jews would be ready to take revenge on their enemies on the appointed day. So urged on by the king's command, the messengers rode out swiftly on fast horses bred for the king's service. The same decree was also proclaimed in the fortress of Susa. Then Mordecai left the king's presence, wearing the royal robe of blue and white, and great crown of gold, and an outer cloak of fine linen and purple. And the people of Susa celebrated the new decree. The Jews were filled with joy and gladness and were honored everywhere. In every province and city, wherever the king's decree arrived, the Jews rejoiced and had a great celebration and declared a public festival and holiday, and many of the people of the land became Jews themselves, for they feared what the Jews might do to them. And that's chapter 8. Look up and got 5 over here clucking. Mindy, I would say 35% of those names are maybe pronounced right. We'll grab a drink and continue on to chapter 9, the victory of the Jews. At Flow Grown, I should have explained that before I started. I was going to kind of try it a little bit different this time. I was going to go ahead and read and then go back to the notes and just kind of, skim, not skim, but like the highlights of each chapter. And if that don't work, I can go back to the other way. I was going to change it up a little bit, but yeah, I'll just go back. Let's see, chapter 6. So remember, the king was having a hard time. He couldn't sleep. He was kind of wide awake. Unable to sleep, the king decided to review the history of his reign, and his servants read to him about Mordecai's good deed. This seems coincidental, but God is always at work. God has been working quietly and patiently throughout your life as well. The events that have come together for good are not mere coincidence. They are the results of God's sovereign control over the course of your and other people's lives. Take time to recollect these events. See how God has strung them together and thank Him for working in your life. That is absolutely true. So true. Haman had wealth, but he craved something even his money couldn't buy: respect. He could buy the trappings of success and power, but his lust for popularity had become an obsession. Don't let your desire for approval, applause, or popularity drive you to immoral actions. We see that a lot everywhere. Everybody wants their 15 seconds, no matter the cost, how it makes them look, how it leaves others looking or feeling. Just the night before, Haman had bragged about his position and the honor he was about to receive. Now he was humiliated and soon to be marked for death. How quickly the course of life can change. Because we cannot predict what will happen, it is best to avoid bragging or boasting about our success. You never know what the next day will bring. Okay, and then chapter 7. Haman's hatred and evil plotting turned against him when the king discovered his intentions. He was impaled on the pole he had set up for someone else. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 27 teaches you that if you set a trap for others, you shouldn't be surprised if you get caught in it yourself. Excuse me. What happened to Haman demonstrates this with violent clarity. And by the king, his attendants covering Haman's face, this was customary in the ancient world for a veil to be placed over the face of someone condemned to death. While we should not expect earthly rewards for being faithful to God, they often come, and in an unexpected way. Esther and Mordecai were faithful, even to the point of risking their lives to save others. They were willing to give up everything, and God rewarded them in proportion to their all-out commitment in ways they could not have foreseen. Haman's message had been sealed with the signet ring and could not be reversed, even by the king himself. It was part of the famed law of the Persians and Medes. Now the king gave permission for whatever other decree Mordecai could devise that would offset the first without actually canceling it. This was the day set by Haman for the extermination of the Jews. Everyone wants to be a hero and receive praise, honor, and wealth, but few are willing to pay the price. Mordecai served the government faithfully for years, bore Haman's hatred and oppression, and risked his life for his people. He was faithful in obscurity. The price to be paid by God's heroes is long-term commitment to Him, whether or not they receive recognition. Are you ready and willing to pay the price? And that brings us up to chapter 9. Well, thank you very much, Cat Lady. I appreciate that. Chris Pyatt, good to see you. We'll go on to chapter 9. The victory of the Jews. So on March 7th, the 2 decrees of the king were put into effect. On that day, the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them, but quite the opposite happened. It was the Jews who overpowered their enemies. The Jews gathered in their cities throughout all the king's provinces to attack anyone who tried to harm them, but no one could make a stand against them, for everyone was afraid of them. And all the nobles of the provinces, the highest officers, the governors, and the royal officials helped the Jews for fear of Mordecai. For Mordecai had been promoted in the king's palace, and his fame spread throughout all the provinces as he became more and more powerful. So the Jews went ahead on the appointed day and struck down their enemies with the sword. They killed and annihilated their enemies and did as they pleased with those who hated them. In the fortress of Susa itself, Jews killed 500 men. They also killed Parshandatha, Dalphon, Espatha, Poratha, Adalia, Aridatha, Parmashta, Arisai, Aridai, and Vasatha, the 10 sons of Haman, son of Hamandatha, the enemy of the Jews, but they did not take any plunder. That very day, when the king was informed of the number of people killed in the fortress of Susa, he called for Queen Esther and said, "The Jews have killed 500 men in the fortress of Susa alone, as well as Haman's 10 sons. If they have done that here, what has happened in the rest of the province? But now, what more do you want? It will be granted to you. Tell me, and I will do it." Esther responded, "If it please the king, give the Jews in Susa permission to do again tomorrow as they have done today, and let the body of Haman's 10 sons be impaled on a pole." So the king agreed, and the decree was announced in Susa, and they impaled the bodies of Haman's 10 sons. Then the Jews at Susa gathered together on March 8th and killed 300 more men, and again took no plunder. Meanwhile, the other Jews throughout the king's province had gathered together to defend their lives. They gained relief from all their enemies, killing 75,000 of those who hated them, but they did not take any plunder. This was done throughout the province. On March 7th and March 8th they rested. Celebrating their victory with a day of feasting and gladness, the Jews of Susa killed their enemies on March 7th and again on March 8th and rested on March 9th. Making that their day of feasting and gladness. So to this day, rural Jews living in remote villages celebrate an annual festival and holiday on the appointed day in late winter, when they rejoice and send gifts of food to each other. The Festival of Purim. Mordecai recorded these events and sent letters to the Jews near and far throughout all the province of King Xerxes, calling on them to celebrate an annual festival on these 2 days. He told them to celebrate these days with feasting and gladness, and by giving gifts of food to each other and presents to the poor. This would commemorate a time when the Jews gained relief from their enemies, when their sorrow was turned into gladness and their mourning into joy. So the Jews accepted Mordecai's proposal and adopted his annual custom. Haman, son of Hammedatha, and Agagite, Agagite, the enemy of the Jews, had plotted to crush and destroy them on the date determined by casting lots. The lots were called Purim. But when Esther came before the king, he issued a decree causing Haman's evil plot to backfire, and Haman and his sons were impaled on a sharpened pole. This is why this celebration is called Purim, because it is the ancient word for casting lots. So because Mordecai's letter and because of what they had experienced, the Jews throughout the realm agreed to inaugurate this tradition and pass it on to their descendants and to all who become Jews. They declared that they would never fail to celebrate these two prescribed days at the appointed time each year. These days would be remembered and kept from generation to generation and celebrated by every family throughout the province and cities of the empire. This festival of Purim would never cease to be celebrated among the Jews, nor would the memory of what happened ever die out amongst their descendants. Then Queen Esther, the daughter of Abihail, along with Mordecai the Jew, wrote another letter putting the queen's full authority behind Mordecai's letter to establish the festival of Purim. Letters wishing peace and security were sent to the Jews throughout the 127 province of the Empire of Xerxes. These letters established the festival of Purim, an annual celebration of these days at the appointed time, decreed by both Mordecai the Jew and Queen Esther. The people decided to observe this festival just as they had decided for themselves and their descendants to establish the times of fasting and mourning. So the command of Esther confirmed the practice of Purim, and it was all written down in the records. That's chapter 9. I'm going to go ahead to chapter 10 because it's very short. King Xerxes imposed a tribute throughout his empire, even to the distant coastlands. His great achievements and the full account of the greatness of Mordecai, whom the king had promoted, are recorded in the book of history of the kings of Media and Persia. Mordecai, the Jew, became the prime minister with the authority next to that of King Xerxes himself. He was very great among the Jews, who held him in high esteem because he continued to work for the good of his people and to speak for the welfare of all their descendants. And that is the book of Esther. I'll go back here. Chapter 9. Haman had decreed that on March 7th, anyone could kill the Jews and take their property. And Mordecai's decree could not reverse Haman's because no law signed by the king could be repealed. Instead, Mordecai had the king sign a new law giving Jews the right to fight back. When the dreaded day arrived, there was much fighting, but the Jews killed only those who wanted to kill them, and they did not take their enemies' possessions, even though they could have it. There were no additional riots after the 2-day slaughter, so selfish gain and revenge were not primary motives for the Jews. They simply wanted to defend themselves and their families from those who hated them. Here, the word fortress refers to the fortified city of Susa. The king appears to be more concerned about Esther's wishes than the slaughter of his subjects. People tend to have short memories when it comes to God's faithfulness. To help counter this, Mordecai wrote down these events and encouraged an annual holiday to commemorate the historic days of Purim. Jews still celebrate Purim today. Celebrations of feasting, gladness, and gift-giving are important ways to remember God's specific acts. Today, the festivities of Christmas and Easter help us to remember the birth and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Don't let the celebration or the exchanging of gifts hide the meaning of these great events. Among Jews and most other ancient societies, women predominantly worked in the home, raising children and preparing food, and they stayed generally on the fringe of religious and political life. But Esther was a Jewish woman who broke through the cultural norms, even what was expected of her as Persian queen, stepping outside of her expected role to risk her life to help God's people. Whatever your place in life, God can use you. Be open, available, and ready, because God may use you to do what others are afraid even to consider. No certain archaeological records of Mordecai being second in command have been discovered, but during this time there is a strange gap in ancient Persian records. The records indicate that another man held that position in 465 BC, about 7 years after Mordecai was first appointed. One tablet has been discovered listing someone named Mordecai as an official in the early years of Xerxes' reign. Some believe this was Mordecai. In the book of Esther, we clearly see God at work in the lives of individuals and in the affairs of a nation. Even when it looks as if the world is in the hands of evil people, God is still in control, protecting those who are his. Although we may not understand everything happening around us, we must trust in God's protection and retain our integrity by doing what we know is right. Esther, who risked her life by appearing before the king, became a hero. Mordecai, who was effectively condemned to death, rose to become the second highest ranking official in the empire. No matter how hopeless our condition or how much we would like to give up, we need not despair. God is in control of our world. And that is the book of Esther. Someone will say Haman and everyone will boo. Good night, Nana P. Thank you for being here. God bless you and yours, and be safe out there. And so much of that is relatable. Like right now, I feel, so we want to be left alone, be able to take care of ourselves, defend ourselves, protect our families. And there's definitely evils at work that want to prevent that. So, that's the end of another book. It's ironic that Vashti is used as an emblem of the woman's movement because she defied her husband's command, and Esther is the one who truly stood up. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nana P. I appreciate that. And he surely has. So the question is, where do we go next? Hey, Mojo Man. Good to see you. Whoops. I didn't mean to hide that. I think I just hid your message, Mojo Man. I didn't mean to. I promise. I'm sorry. 5 says Revelations. I'll do it like I did last time. We'll take some suggestions, and then see if we get any duplicates. So we got John, 2 for Revelations, James, 3 for Revelations. Papa, on the Sunday before Christmas, you might read the story of the birth of Jesus. Just a thought. Yep, you're absolutely prepared for. That's. I was thinking about that. Ezekiel. It's 2 for James. We need to see how it ends. Luke. We already done Revelation this year. I mean, we did. Actually, that's the first one I did. But, I mean, I couldn't say that it's definitely not. I mean, in my honest opinion, we're living it. Ephesians. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate that, man. Revelation is worth rereading. Well, it's definitely in the lead, unless we got any more. We can do two. James is short book. There's another Revelation. There's 5. Titus 1 and 2. You're absolutely right, Coral. Every time I read Revelations, I have another like aha moment, or I'll think I've kind of figured it out, and I'm like, well, that can't be because that totally contradicts this. And yeah, Revelations is it's definitely not easy to understand. Joe wants smiting. Okay, so we got 2 for James and 5 for Revelations. So like Jennifer said, James is a short book. So next Sunday we will do, let's see, get this figured out. Because I don't like leaving anybody out. Okay. Oh yeah. We'll do James next Sunday, and then we will start the book of Revelation again. Because James is only 5 chapters. So that's totally doable in one evening. this stuff back in order here. Papa's 2022 Bible Challenge. Read the whole Bible book, or read the whole book. That would be awesome. I mean, clearly we couldn't get it all in on live streams, but if everybody would take that challenge, that would be awesome. I would even reread it. I'll do it with you, Jennifer. I don't know why that was hidden, but the powers that be must be watching. If anyone out there has the Bible app, I'll be doing the chronological Bible in a year again, starting in January. You can add me on the app and join me. I will do that. I like it a lot, Coral. Tell you what, Big Papa, man, do I definitely feel like I'm in the Matrix sometimes. Dude, that copperhead was pretty good size. Where did you find that at, 5? Like, was that just around your house? I don't know if I can try to show it off here if it'll let me. Maybe I can block the light. There we go. It's pretty decent size. That and rattlesnakes about the only snakes I will kill. Any of the other ones, I just leave them alone. Sidewalk. Whoop. Just a second, guys. Hey, are you still up? Will you get on top of the entertainment center? And will you get on top of the entertainment center and grab that Christmas card and that gift that one of the viewers sent us so I can show it off?
Are you allowed?
What do you mean?
Maybe you don't want to.
Well, I'm not gonna. I got this. Can you bring it in here?
All right, I'll be back.
Love you. Bye. I got something to show off. Hey, Klingon. Good to see you. Thank you. So I got a surprise the other day, no, about a week ago, in my P.O. box from a viewer. I won't say any names because I don't want to embarrass them or put them on the spot or anything. But got a Christmas card. It says, sending you special wishes for a very Merry Christmas. It's such a blessing to have met you and your wife, Mandy. Thank you both for being the people you are. Thank you for your Bible studies, and thank you for being my friend. Love you both. Merry Christmas. And if that wasn't awesome enough, they sent us this. It is a 1 troy ounce Donald J. Trump. silver coin. I think that is pretty awesome. If I could get it focus in. There we go. I think that is just awesome. It says there at the bottom, 1 troy ounce, 0.999 silver. I thought that was really cool. And I really appreciate it. But even more than that, the Christmas card got me. And thank you very much. Been waiting to show that off. I wanted to show it off Sunday, but ended up having to cancel. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, Joe. I really like it. Hey, I am going to show off when I get something cool, especially a heartfelt Christmas card. You don't get those very often. We actually, a lot of people mail. Actually, we don't get any Christmas cards, hardly at all. But a lot of people, like it's a duty, like it's Christmas, we got to send cards. But that one, that one was actually heartfelt. You don't get that very often. And then you got to see this T-shirt that Mrs. Poppaprepper got me when her and Kylene went to Tennessee. The first round's on me. Because this year for Christmas, we kind of doing it different. Um, we're doing a Christmas Advent. It started December 1st. And what it is every night we get one small gift, be anything from a couple dollars to $5, $10, whatever. And it's really cool. Like you get a present every night up until Christmas morning, and then we each get, like a whatever, like I don't want to say big Christmas present, but like, you know, your main Christmas present, whatever. Everybody has that main Christmas present you get your kid or, whatever like that. So we're doing it that way this year, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of cool to have that to look forward to every night. And I love giving. I love giving to people, and that for me is better than opening Christmas presents. I love watching people open what I've got them or made them. I'll make people things sometimes, and it is kind of like Hanukkah, I guess, in a way. That's somebody asked me that the other day. Like, isn't that Hanukkah? Well, I mean, it could be compared to it, I guess, but it's pretty neat. Anyway, this was my um, Advent gift today. Well, thank you, Flo Grown. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Loretta. Hey, Weed Eater's good. I wouldn't mind if Santa Claus brought me a chainsaw, to be honest with you. Speaking of weed eaters, I'm always good with getting tools. Any kind of tools, woodworking tools, bits, hand tools. I'm all about it. Hey, Christ is the answer. Good to see you. And you guys, I apologize about last night. We were in Columbus. We got out of the car. We were babysitting last night. Okay. Um, Hey, Arkansas, we just got finished, man. Glad to see you, though. Next week, we're going to do the book of James. And then Sunday after that, we're going to start Revelations again. And last night. And we got up there. And it wasn't like terribly cold, but the baby's mom didn't send her a coat. Okay. But we're like, well, she got a big fuzzy blanket. We'll keep her wrapped up. No big deal. The kid would not stay wrapped up. She wouldn't leave her ears covered. She was throwing a fit, wasn't having it. So, it wasn't worth trying to put the kid through that and making everybody else around us mad. And you guys trying to watch when you heard a baby yelling and screaming. And it's like, we can't do this because it was too cold for a baby. Well, it should be a year in January. And it was just too cold for her not to be covered up. And so that's why I canceled last night. And I was pretty irritated because we drove all the way to Columbus. And it is what it is. Stuff happens. We left there and we went to Walmart. We was going to buy her a coat, because she has one. Just her mom didn't. She's kind of, whatever. So we're going to buy her a coat. Had all kinds of little boys' coats, no little girls' coats. So I think she might be going to order her one for Christmas or something just to keep here. We have her a lot now. So we got her a pack and play. Somebody gave us a pack and play and it doubles as her crib. We've bought her clothes and all kinds of stuff to keep here. She has a good mommy, but she's a single mom struggling, so we just go ahead and get stuff for the baby to keep here while we keep her, so she's got nice clean clothes and diapers and food and wipes, and it's kind of like our little adopted baby. 5, honestly, man, I would take anything right now as long as it's seasoned. I still haven't got any firewood. It's like it's out around here, and if you do find it, it's ridiculous price. So I wouldn't even know where to start on what kind of firewood. Just whatever would be good and seasoned and burn hot. And at this point, I am not picky. Sure are lots of people doing Bible readings as of late. People are interested. Well, I think a lot of people are waking up, Joe. Uh, it's definitely upon us, It's, and I know people have been screaming that since, 2,000 years ago. But, everything's lining up, dude. It's right here. I'm my mama's oldest baby too, Art. 43. Where's the time gone? My sister turns 40 next month. Let me know if you need anything for the baby. Babies are my heart. I appreciate that, Jennifer. She's spoiled beyond measures. Her Aunt Mimi and Unky T. Her mom's starting to date a guy from Bedford, which you guys don't know. Well, Coral knows where Bedford's at, but that's a good drive from here. and kind of hoping he don't start watching her. That'll be rough. I've got firewood, Papa, but I'm in Utah. You can have it if you come get it. It's quite a drive. That's us too, 5. The cities are going to be the first to really fall. So has anybody heard any more about, of course, the Oxford, Michigan shootings? But, they're trying to put charges on the parents as well. Where do you guys, I don't know how freely I should even talk about that on here, but I really don't think that looks good for 2A folks. And I'm wondering, since Kyle was found innocent and all the charges dropped, if these are just going to keep coming out of the woodworks, pressuring parents, putting parents in jail for something some kid does. And I don't know. I still think it's all part of a big plan. Hey, Sean, good to see you, man. I showed you that video today. I think they want to raise the age of buying a gun to 21 for all of us, but I think states will do it more and more of the usual ones have. Right? I am good, Sean. We're doing good, man. Getting a lot of things done. They did. That's what I don't understand. They told him to get counseling within 48 hours, and they left the kid at school. I mean, why would you leave him at school? That's. I mean, they all. I don't know. I would hate to say they just didn't care, but it's almost like they didn't care. And did you guys see? I'm so far. I mean, I'm out of the loop, like I said. But have you seen where Walmart and I think Dollar Tree was one of the other places, like out on the West Coast, they're actually marking off parts of their big parking lots and they're making shipping yards, like a makeshift shipping yard out of the parking lots to get their um, shipping containers unloaded and into the store, and then from the parking lots, they're shipping stuff out to other local stores just so they can get products on the shelf. I don't think Mr. Biden is caring for that too much, because Walmart and several other big chain retailers reported that it's doing better. We're doing okay, and Biden's like, no, they're not. How are you going to argue with the people that it affects the most? They say they're good. You're going to cancel your press conference and everything because you disagree with them? That's right, Chris. That's where I was at with it. It's gonna. I mean, it plays right up the gun grabbers' alleys. I hadn't heard that, Coral. And I seen where Mr. Rittenhouse has started his. I'm not sure who all is involved, but his lawsuits, which I mean, more power to him. I would have started right at the top with Joe Biden, called him extremist, a white supremacist, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's. I would have started right there. Papa, I have another prayer request. I just learned there's a child that we watch half of the week. Her grandmother had a stroke. She just finished with her booster shot. I got you, Rob. Child that we watch. Then we got this new variant moving in, which everyone, like the doctors in South Africa, and it's nothing. It's not that bad. Kind of like a common cold, this and that, and which Fauci's. I'm surprised he's not jumped on it harder than he has. Of course he's still preaching. Get vaccinated, get your boosters, and blah 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 blah. But it's too early to tell if we'll have to shut down again. He said the other day. Urban Grammy, good to see you. My sister had booster 2 weeks ago and has bad rash on hands and legs. She won't even consider that it could be from the shot. I'm done talking. I hate to hear that. And that's, as sad as it is, that's, there's a lot of people that are just, I think, in denial more than anything, I think. Because, how much more obvious do you need to be on them deliberately tanking our country? Absolutely just running it in the toilet. There's just as many folks dying vaccinated than unvaccinated. I'm not going to say more, but it's even CNN and those type of people are starting to question it. It's almost like Walmart and them branching off doing their own thing because they know they're sinking. That Walmart, that's by far the biggest retailer in the world, I'm sure. That's just my guess. But they're tanking. And they're not going to just sit back and let that happen. So they're doing their own shipping containers and their own parking lots. And, I think more and more people, and that's what more and more people need to start doing. Like, hey, we're going to fail. This is our lifeline. If we keep going at this rate, we're done. And I pray more and more people, even the big shot callers, are waking up. Sorry to hear that, Rob. I've got her wrote down, man. We'll definitely be praying for her. My boss had a stroke last week. She's still working. Please pray for her. Natalie is her name. Absolutely, man. And just wondering, James, do you know if she was vaccinated or not? I mean, not, it doesn't matter, really. I'm just curious. It's funny you say that, Flow Grown, because that's the exact same thing I told Mandy last night. I said Walmart has been so deep in politicians' pockets for years, and they finally made a boss move, like, what I was talking about, the shipping containers and stuff. I mean, it's like I never thought that I would give a hoorah to Walmart, but here we are. And see, that's, I was kind of worried about that. They hit me with this raise at work. And then I'm not exaggerating. I swear to you, 20 minutes later, HR calls me again and says, in order to be fully vaccinated by January 6th, we're going to have you get your first vaccination, your first round by December 5th. And I didn't say anything to him, but I'm thinking, was that raise to entice me? I mean, you think I'm going to sell my soul, whatever, however you want to phrase it, for a raise, you know? And then she's like, but you can do an exemption. She said, exemptions, I really don't think they're going to fight them too hard. And I'm thinking, yeah, you also told me you wasn't going to push the jab at all, but here we are. So I went ahead and done it, and I put exactly what I believed on that paper, and it passed. I was pretty shocked. I really didn't think I'd have a job tomorrow, but I got through. Excuse me. Hey, Don, good to see you. I'll add that to your other request, Jennifer. I know there was a lot of people praying for me on that, and I have no doubt that's what got us approved or got me approved, because I was really expecting the worst. Pray for our sweet cashier at Walmart. She was the only cashier for 4 hours. The self checkout was really long too. Yeah, we ran into that last night. I mean, it was busy. There was two actual people checking customers out. The rest of it was the self checkout, and it was backed up around the drink area, and yeah, it was ridiculous. And God bless those people, that are still determined and want to get out and work. I don't know how you can just sit at home and not worry about any kind of income, not worry about, you know, basically saying, the government will help. Yeah, well, for a minute. I just don't understand how, and we all knew, majority of us knew that was going to happen when they started sending out these stimulus checks and giving people all this unemployment. Because, I mean, if you're a smart, budget minded person, as much unemployment as they were sending out, you could live off that for a few years. I mean, well, my buddy, he was genuinely sick. He had to get a trach and everything. He was in bad shape, but because of all the COVID, they were sending him $900 a week to do nothing. And they were doing that to everybody. I mean, if you're getting $4,000, say, a month, and you just paid your bills and lived like you always do, you could have saved up such a nest egg. I mean, but people didn't. I mean, a lot of people didn't. See them walking out of Walmart, big screen TVs, and all this stupid stuff, and you see them at the pawn shop in 2 months, hawking everything back off. But they won't go back to work. That's awesome, Arkansas. Good for you. And they do, Don. I mean, you see people get so rude with each other, and they don't stop and think, like, you're lucky they're even here. Half of our restaurants around town are still drive-through only, or, curbside pickup. They never have, and it's not because of COVID. It's because there's nobody to work. Absolutely nobody to work. And it's not just like Wendy's, it's still closed. It's still drive-through only. But like Chili's, it just now opened back up, maybe a month ago, for inside dining. There's several places around here that never did open back up. What'd you time out Coral for, America or Loretta? I bet that was an oopsie. Prayers for Mr. B. He is retiring at the end of the month. Pray all his paperwork for Medicare gets done. He's worked since he was 11 years old at Piggly Wiggly. Wow. Absolutely, B&B. That is a long time at one place. It's my father-in-law, Mandy's stepdad. He retired from BP, and he'd worked there for, I want to say, 42 years. I think something like that, and just in the store, not like management or upper management. Nothing's worked at BP 42 years. And Mandy's dad, he's worked at Cummins since he was early 20s, and he's still there. He just turned 70 or 71 in October. So he's been at Cummins for almost 50 years. That's what we did, Mames. Every stimulus, every little bit we got, we put into food, shelves to store food on, some new boomsticks, guns. I'm just going to say guns, whatever. We did a lot of prepping with those stimulus checks. The government gave me $1,800 a month so I could homeschool my kids. Wow. That's cool. You're getting out of rabbits? Are you serious? Oh, I couldn't do geese. There's no way. No way. I couldn't handle, man, that would drive me up a wall. Kudos to you, 5. Yeah, I was just messing with you, Loretta. It's all right. Hey, yeah, good to see you. I don't go anywhere and just do my thing. I go to work and home, man. That's about it. I wouldn't be venturing out now if it wasn't Christmas time. Geese do bite. Geese are mean. They're mean, they're loud, and they're nasty. They poop all over everything. I ordered. It's supposed to be here yesterday, no Friday, but it's been delayed. Now they're saying it'll be here tomorrow. We'll see. Um, a Wi-Fi extender, I guess. I'm hoping I'll be able to plug it into my kitchen or utility room. And it'll reach my garage, and I can start live streaming from out there when I'm doing stuff. So I can actually live stream and still be accomplishing things. I might not be able to stay, right on top of chat, but it just depends on what I'm working on. If I got saws and stuff going, that wouldn't be very, productive to have a live stream going and all you can hear saws and whatever. But, if I'm just working on whatever, at least I can live stream from the garage and it'd be a change of atmosphere, you know, do a live stream from my new prep room. How exciting is that? You're right, Joe. The people that made choices to squander opportunity will be the ones feeling entitled to our hard work later. Remember that when the hungry mouths show up. 30 rabbits a month. Too much for me. 29 is old. I wanted to have rabbits before the winter, but it just didn't happen. Not enough hours in the day. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Coral's back. Welcome back. Yeah, absolutely, guys. If you can, just a couple dollars, whatever. If you guys want to help out from Kate's Kitchen, I'm sure she would appreciate it. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with the channel. I watched a handful of times, but they seem like a very sweet couple. James Carroll, good to see you. Geese and guineas, loud as heck. I miss guineas, though. I think I'd be spelling guineas wrong. That's all right. That means I'm reading it wrong. It's close enough to be able to tell what it was, man. That's all that matters. Widgets World, good to see you. I've never had guineas. I heard they're incredible for keeping away like ticks and stuff like that, but I've never had any. He died at home in his sleep. That's the way I hope to go. Just peacefully in my sleep. Many, 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 many years from now. But yeah, if I had a lot of land, I don't guess geese would be bad. But I don't. I got enough for my chickens, and hopefully I'll get some rabbits. I'd like to have a couple goats, but I've already been told no. But we'll see. I'm wanting to get back to some more live streaming and making new content. I miss it. I miss it bad. Once it starts snowing and I just can't be outside, and because I won't go outside and waste diesel fuel, and waste firewood just to be out there, you know, working on stuff that don't need to be done right now. So when it gets, probably January, I'm sure I'm expecting to pick back up on YouTube. I hope that's the plan. I want chickens and rabbits. I've been told no to goats too, but we shall see. Yeah, that's where I'm at. We'll see. I mean, if I just happen to bring home a couple, that's how I got Tank. I just came home with him. Now he's not even my dog. Yeah, there's definitely no shortage of jobs. I mean, there's help wanted signs up everywhere. But on the same side of that, you talk to a lot of people that's really looking for jobs, and they put in applications everywhere and said, I just can't get a call back. Nobody will call me. Papa giggles, prep, Angela lost her mom this week. Please add to prayer list. Sorry to hear that. I could do that. I never thought about that, Sean. That's a really good idea, man. Hey, Elusive, good to see you, man. Stopped in today to say hello. Hope all is well. Hey, everybody. We are doing well. I hope you're the same. I appreciate you stopping by. Well, thank you very much, Big Red, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it. God bless you and stay safe out there. My skills could be a lot better, Flow Grown, but I appreciate that. I just make do with what I got, man. Very good. I'll check it out, Sean. I'm glad you got your exemption, Papa. I signed 2 exemptions last week. Very good. All right, Rob. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it. God bless you and yours, and be safe. Good night, B&B. God bless y'all and be safe. Looking at new property, maybe a move in future, asking God to let us know if it is right. We have been here 20 years. Wow. That will be a big change. Hit the country. Get as far out in the country as you can. That makes sense, Sean. I never thought of it that way, man. Might definitely be doing that now. That's a good idea. Well, y'all, it is 10 minutes early, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this if there's no more prayer requests. My eyes are getting tired. They're getting heavy. Through the week, you're doing good. I was setting clock watch, starting about a quarter after 8. 9 o'clock can't get here fast enough. But it's working out well. I'm got a pretty good schedule going. I kind of like working at Circle K. You get to, of course, you got rude, grumpy people in the morning, but it's all right. It's extra money. That's what matters. But we'll go ahead and end this, and I should be able to show off my new prep room. Hopefully, that's what I'll be doing in the evenings this week, finishing it up. Like I said, I got to finish off the door because I found a big gap in that. But ready for yourself for the next big thing. I don't feel like I ever stop readying myself, man. But I know what you mean. It's definitely a godsend. Dude, I was on cloud 9 Friday when I found out. On cloud 9. Guys, God bless y'all and thank you for being here, sticking with me, even though I've had to cancel and down to 1 day a week. But thank you for being here on Sundays. I appreciate it, guys. Oops, where's my button? My button's gone. There it is. Anyway, guys, I love y'all. God bless y'all. And I will see you next time.